One morning at Lincoln Elementary, Emily Rodriguez spotted her top student, Lucas, concealing his duct-taped shoes beneath his desk. After finding out that his single mother juggled two jobs, she discreetly purchased him a new pair of shoes. The following day, Lucas was beaming once more. However, when Principal Thompson learned of her kind gesture, his response revealed an unexpected truth. For Emily Rodriguez, teaching transcended mere employment. Throughout her 8 years at Lincoln Elementary, she had positively impacted countless young lives. Yet she never anticipated that a small act of kindness would unveil a troubling secret that could disrupt the entire school system. Emily was attentive to her students, focusing not only on their academic performance, but also on their overall well-being. It was this attentiveness that alerted her when Lucas, one of her most promising fourth graders, began to change. The once enthusiastic boy had grown withdrawn, slumping in his seat and hardly engaging in class discussions. At first, Emily thought it might be trouble at home or difficulty with the material, but as she observed more closely, she noticed how Lucas would tuck his feet under his desk, trying to hide them from view. His shoes were falling apart, barely held together by strips of duct tape. The other children had started to notice too, and their whispered comments weren't going unheard by Lucas. During recess, Lucas no longer ran around with his friends. Instead, he sat alone on a bench, keeping his feet hidden. His grades were starting to slip, and the spark in his eyes had dimmed. Emily knew she had to do something. After class one day, she gently asked Lucas to stay behind. The boy shuffled nervously, trying to keep his feet out of sight. Emily learned that his mother was raising him alone, working two jobs just to keep food on the table. The choice between new shoes and paying bills wasn't really a choice at all. That evening, Emily couldn't stop thinking about Lucas. She remembered her own childhood when teachers had sometimes been the only adults who noticed when something was wrong. Without hesitation, she went to the store and bought a pair of sturdy shoes in Lucas's size. The next day, Emily quietly gave Lucas the shoes before class started. The transformation was immediate. Lucas sat up straighter, participated in discussions, and even joined his friends during recess. His mother sent Emily a heartfelt note explaining how Lucas had started believing in himself again. However, Emily's moment of triumph was short-lived. Principal Thompson summoned her to his office, his face dark with anger. Emily had never seen him so agitated. He paced behind his desk, berating her for creating inequality among students and overstepping professional boundaries. Emily was stunned. She tried to explain her actions, pointing to her spotless teaching record and the positive change in Lucas, but Thompson wouldn't listen. His reaction seemed completely out of proportion to what she had done. Without warning, he fired her on the spot, citing violations of school policy. The news spread quickly through the community. Parents were confused, and teachers were afraid. Something about the situation didn't add up. Why would a principal fire a dedicated teacher for helping a student in need? The story caught the attention of tech billionaire Michael Turner. Unlike others who simply expressed outrage on social media, Turner saw something familiar in Emily's story. He remembered his own childhood in rural Nebraska, growing up in a trailer park with his single mother, who worked night shifts at a diner. His clothes were always secondhand, and some days he went to school hungry. But one teacher, Mrs. Stevens, had noticed his struggles. She started keeping granola bars in her desk for him, never making a big deal about it when he came to get one. When winter came and Turner showed up in a thin jacket, Mrs. Stevens quietly brought him a warm coat the next day, saying it was her son's old one that didn't fit anymore. However, it was her belief in his abilities that truly changed his life. She stayed after school to teach him programming on the classroom's only computer, seeing his potential when everyone else had written him off as just another poor kid. That computer became his escape. Now, 30 years later, as the founder of one of the world's largest tech companies, Turner had never forgotten Mrs. Stevens' kindness. He had been trying to track her down to thank her when he came across Emily's story. The parallel was impossible to ignore. Another teacher fired for showing the same kind of compassion that had saved him. Turner's team began investigating Principal Thompson's tenure at Lincoln Elementary. What they uncovered was disturbing. Emily wasn't the first teacher to be fired for helping students in need. There was a pattern. Whenever a teacher's act of kindness drew public attention, they were quickly removed from their position. The investigation revealed that every time a teacher helped a student publicly, parents started asking questions about the school's home assistance programs. Where was the funding for student aid going? Why weren't there official channels to help students like Lucas? As Turner's team dug deeper, they found their answer. Principal Thompson had been systematically removing problematic teachers, those whose compassion might expose his scheme. He labeled them as creating inappropriate relationships with students or damaging the school's reputation. The truth was far more sinister. Thompson had been manipulating the school's budget for years. Money meant for student assistance programs had been mysteriously rerouted. While students like Lucas wore duct-taped shoes, Thompson had been using these funds for expensive office renovations and personal expenses. Every kind teacher was a threat to his scheme. Their actions drew attention to the conspicuous absence of official student support. By firing them, Thompson had been protecting his elaborate fraud. The evidence against Thompson was irrefutable. Financial records revealed that he had embezzled over $300,000 from student assistance funds. The police were summoned and Thompson was taken into custody. The very man who had dismissed Emily for purchasing shoes for a student was led out of the school in handcuffs. Justice came swiftly. Thompson was convicted of corruption and fraud, receiving a 5-year prison sentence. Emily was reinstated with back pay and appointed as interim principal. The school board collaborated with Turner to create a transparent student assistance program, ensuring that no child would have to choose between dignity and education. Under Emily's leadership, Lincoln Elementary evolved into a beacon of compassion and support. Teachers were encouraged to be vigilant and assist students in need. The newly established assistance program benefited countless children like Lucas, providing not only material support, but also hope for a brighter future. Lucas's mother later expressed how that simple pair of shoes had transformed her son's life. It was not merely about the shoes. It was about the realization that someone cared enough to notice, to help, and to advocate for what was right. What began as a small act of kindness had unveiled years of corruption and initiated meaningful change. Emily's journey served as a powerful reminder that even the smallest gestures can uncover profound truths. Would you have the courage to stand up for what is right, even at great personal risk?